Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm a coach and a channel, and welcome to my weekly series called Guided and Grounded. This is a series where I invite forward the spirit guides to share an experience with you in two parts. The first part is they relay a message, something that they're feeling like it's time for you to hear, something that you've been wanting or searching for, and something that is meant to find you at exactly the right time. And then after that, they take you through an experience. And this is an energy healing experience where you are asked to turn in and see how this message is showing up inside of your life, inside of your energy body, inside of your physical body, so that you can shift it, release it, and then transcend it, shifting your frequency in the process, and then also shifting your entire reality as a byproduct. So the way this works is I close my eyes, I tune in with them, and then the message just starts revealing itself slowly. And it usually starts with an image of some kind, and kind of unravels from there. So I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to tune in, and I'm going to see what they want to share with us today. Give me a second. So they're immediately, okay, which one do you want me to focus on first? They're immediately showing this image of someone standing on the edge of a cliff, looking out at the world below, and overhead an airplane is flying in the sky. And I think that they're focusing on the two different perspectives, where the person standing on the edge of the cliff is looking out at everything that they can see below them and into the distance. And then the person sitting in the airplane above is doing the same thing. And their perspectives of what they're seeing is different because they're sitting at different altitudes, but they're seeing the same thing just from different um, aspects or heights from the ground. And so the person in the plane can see things from a different perspective because they're able to see things from higher above. Okay, where would you like to go with that? They really want to focus today on the idea of having a higher perspective of things, and that sometimes we think that we're seeing things from a high perspective because we've gotten to this perspective from years and years of experience and trials and tribulations, and we've learned and grown a lot, and so we can look back at everything that we've been through with this fresh perspective and a higher level of understanding that we didn't have prior. And they're saying that there's always someone higher, meaning there's always another level of awareness and perspective that's even higher than the one that you're operating from, that's there to offer you even more perspective and understanding and maybe even a level of peace. And that is what they want to reveal to you today is how can you see the situation that you're in from even another vantage point, a higher perspective than the one that you've been operating from, that might offer you a different level of awareness and bring you a greater sense of peace and understanding and clarity as a result. And they want to start with what you're feeling first. Okay. How would you like to go there? They want you to focus on what comes up when you think about this time in your life specifically. When you kind of look at your current reality from a bird's eye view, everything that you're moving through, everything that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, all of the things that you're looking to get done or accomplish, all of the things that have led you to this point, and what you're hoping to get from all of that, how you're hoping to feel at the end of the day, and how close are you from that feeling? regardless of what your life looks like, have you gotten any closer to the feeling that you've been chasing? And they kind of want to tie in the end of the year inside of this, where this is going to be posted um, at the very end of the year or potentially at the very beginning of January, but in this kind of limbo period where you're at the end of one year and you're at the beginning of the next. And tying up all the loose ends at the end of one year before you're starting the next is something that we tend to feel like we have to rush through and chase and get everything done and kind of check all the boxes, make sure that we're setting ourselves up from a good vantage point for whatever we're looking to start next. And we tend to get caught up in doing that, making sure that all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and we have all of our to-do list done and all of the little checkpoints that we were looking to get done and hoping to accomplish. It's all done, and you can kind of put it to bed knowing that you did it and it's done, and you can move on and start fresh. And they want you to kind of observe how you've been operating that way and how you've been doing that, and then take it one step higher. So you've been observing everything that you've been wanting to get done from this bird's eye view of, okay, here's all the things I'm looking to get done. Here's what led me here. Here's where I'm going. And if I can get all of that done, tie it up in a nice bow, I'm good. That's one perspective. And then they're wanting to take you higher and they want you to observe, are you accomplishing through all of those things what you're hoping to get out of them in terms of how you it what you want to feel inside of it? Yes, hold on. I want to make sure I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Yeah, they're saying, yes, you're looking to feel a sense of completion, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, and a sense of meeting like deadlines and expectations, which is all important and it's important to you. However, are you really feeling a sense of completion? Are you really feeling a sense of ownership that you what? Desire to ultimately access and allow, but that you feel may not be present for you for very long or in the way that you're wanting it to, because you know in times to come very soon, you're going to have to start it all over again. When one job is done, it just leads into the next. There's no kind of sense of completion where you can sit and look at it and like bask in it for very long because that experience is withheld through this way of going about your life and your tasks. And they want to offer you a way to access a level of pride that you oftentimes don't fully allow yourself to feel because pride feels a little bit undeserved. What else would you like to say about that? They're saying you work so hard. You do so much. And you take pride in the work that you do. However, do you allow your process to fulfill a sense of what? Desire to feel at peace. Can you expand on that? You go, you hustle, you drive, and you do it in the name of your reputation, your capacity to take on new, big and challenging things, and to feel resourceful um, and prideful. However, how long do those emotions and experiences last? How long are they sustained? And can you observe how the steady pace that you're moving disagrees with the ultimate goal that you have in mind, which is one of complete fulfillment? So, what they want to offer for you today is a way to ground into the actual experience that you're hoping that these tasks will offer for you so that you can move through them in a way where you're not necessarily withholding a sense of pride and peace and completion and fulfillment until they're done. And then you get a few moments of reprieve before you start all over again. But this frequency of energetic alignment that will be infused into the work that you do. So you're constantly working from a state of peace and fulfillment and pride, and witness how the approach that you take changes. Is that right? Or, or you might begin to notice a disconnect between what you're doing and what you're really seeking from it. And it may guide you in a completely different direction that's going to feel that much more fulfilling. And you're going to feel this like this what? This drive and influx of energy and potential for excitement and additional pride that you didn't even realize had kind of subsided or dulled because you've been like fulfilling, checking that box in the same way over and over and over again. And it's not really doing it for you anymore in the same way that it used to. But there's just kind of this element of like habit that you fall into because it's easy and it's efficient and it doesn't take a lot of concentration and focus and energy, but you're seeking for more from it. And perhaps the way you've been going about it just can't fulfill that for you anymore in the way that it once did. Okay, where do you want to go from here? They want you to ground into who you desire to be inside of who you are and witness how that person has outgrown how you've been showing up and operating and allowing your updated energy output to match what you're now capable of, which is something that will feel a lot more resonant for you. Really interesting. They're saying all that's required is to check in and ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? How is it offering me what I'm wanting? And where is there an available opening to do things differently or to feel a sense of aliveness inside of it in a way that offers it to you. And they want to guide you through this right now. Do you want them to put their things away and really focus? They're saying, no, this is something that you can do as you're doing other things, as long as you're being truthful with what's coming up for you in the process. Okay. They're saying that they want you to recognize where there is tension inside of your physicality and how that tension is like creating like an anxious overdrive way of working. And they want you to notice where there's room to kind of let in a breath, recognize where you're holding all this tension and release it, and notice what shifts in the moment where you do that, where you allow for that. And they're saying what you're going to notice is how much tension you have been in in inputting, impressing, or expressing inside of the actions that you've been doing, and how that same tension is creating more of the same. That you are moving from one task to the next with this like tense, anxious, kind of like frenetic control, anxious energy, and it lends itself to productivity. But is that really fulfilling for you, how you're wanting to feel inside of your day, inside of your life, and at the end of your day when you're exhausted? Okay. What does it feel like to recognize where you're holding tension in the now moment and release it, and the wave of relief that comes in inside of doing that? And inside of that wave of relief, any sort of impulse or need or desire to change things, change something, switch something up, and where it feels uncomfortable to do that. Not necessarily stopping and doing something different, but shifting the way in which you are operating in the current task. Is there a different way to go about it that you recognize might make this simpler, um, a little bit, um, a little bit what? Less dire, and allowing an opening for more flow and more insight to come through intuitively on where to go next, how to approach this specific endeavor, and perhaps where a break might be needed. Okay, because they're saying because a break in this, um, a break inside of the day-to-day experience that you're currently managing is something that you've been wanting, something that you've been kind of waiting to allow yourself to earn or to have the chance for, or the ability to do, and how this break inside of your current way of operating will allow for new insight or fresh perspective to come in. Maybe what you're doing is not needed. Maybe what you're doing is not wanted. And maybe what you've been asking for can only come through in a moment of release. They're saying ultimately what they're trying to offer you inside of this message today is a way through. What do you want to say about that? Yeah, that you've been experiencing a lot of stuckness and things have felt kind of like immovable and challenging. And there's more of like a flow state that's available for you, a way of existing inside of a world where you're not so rigid in your to-do list and in the way that you operate inside of that to-do list. And instead, you allow ideas to come to you. You're more flexible inside of your approach and your brilliance for new ideas, compelling perspectives, and what is that word that you're trying to tell me? Like there's a level of innovation that's trying to come through that can't when you are so adamant inside of your routine. And they're reminding you to observe from a higher perspective what's really desired here. Is it more of the same or is it something new and fresh? And if you're willing to take the time to to like mentally step outside of the routine and just observe how you're going about it, how much tension you're holding inside of you as you do so, and how rigorously you are confining yourself to one way of doing it, then you will see that a step back is going to be helpful and it's going to allow for those new ideas to come through. And it's also going to feel really invigorating because you've outgrown this current system and you just haven't been taking that step back in the way that's been needed to see things from an elevated perspective in a way that will allow for this new paradigm to come in. Okay, what else would you like to say? They're saying start fresh tomorrow. Finish the day in the way that you had planned. Don't stress yourself out about like changing things up right now, but maybe reflect on how you want to incorporate this insight into your day, your week, or your year moving forward, and allow the universe to drop the breadcrumbs for you that will lead to something new and exciting as long as you're to open to a new you in the process, which will only be created inside of moments of rest and breath and relaxation, because that is the version of you that you are working so hard to embody and to allow. And it's that version of you that will be able to create from the energy that you've been seeking. It can't come through unless you allow yourself an opportunity to receive it. and unless you're open to operating inside of a new system or way of expressing yourself. That's it. Amazing. Really interesting message today. It was not what I was expecting, which is what they is what they told me. I hope you enjoyed this today. If this resonated for you, I would love to hear from you. Comment below, private message me on social media at Mandalorian Blau on Instagram, on TikTok, or you can email me at amandalaurenblau at gmail.com. I love hearing from you guys, so I would love to hear like if this really resonated for you in terms of what you've been feeling inside of your life at this time. And if this message did resonate, but you're not 100% sure what to do with it or where to go from here, and you would like some help exploring this in a more personal way, reach out to me. I'm offering one-on-one sessions with clients right now in a few different ways. One way is a single 90-minute session where we sit down and you come in with an intention for what you want to cover in that session. It could be a question that you have, it can be an area of your life where you're feeling frustrated or confused. It can be a pattern that keeps showing up for you that you're seeing yourself fall into over and over and over again, and you can't seem to figure out a way out of it. Or if you're just looking for clarity on a path forward and you want some wisdom on what that could look like and how to navigate it. The way this works is you come in with any one of those things or many of them, and I call forward your spirit team and your higher self, and I channel whatever they want you to know about that. And whatever comes up inside of that information, we move through it at your own pace. And then I guide you to learn how to tune into and access your own intuitive knowing so that you learn how to clear away all of the interruptions that are preventing you from being able to access your inner wisdom so you can feel it come to the surface and have clarity on next steps and how to move forward from there. And then I also work with clients in a 3-month mentorship capacity where it's the same way. The sessions are designed in the same way, but we have more time to work together. So there's a lot more layers of unraveling that can be done. And there's a lot more energy that can be shifted as a byproduct of that simply because we have more time together. And so there's a deeper level of understanding and clarity and transformation that takes place within that. And then finally, I'm hosting live group events again. I took 2025 off from doing that, and I'm starting back up again in 2026. And the best way to stay updated about that is to join my email list. And you can do that by sending me an email through my website that you'd like to be added to that. And I'd be happy to update you every single month when I have live events. And you'll be receiving one-on-one support inside of those live events as well. So thank you so much for tuning in with me today in this Guided and Grounded episode. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.